Katie, you're live.
Good morning, traders, and happy Monday, and welcome back to the Trader Bacon Show. My apologies for that pause there. My screen still does not show that I'm live. So there we go. Now it's telling me live. So my apologies on that. Happy Monday. Welcome back to the Trader Bacon Show. I'm your host, Gates Adams, also known as the Forged Trader. It is always such a privilege and an honor to be here and share this time with you guys every Monday, barring the occasional holiday. Yeah, man, we've got a great show for you guys today. John, of course, mentioning Alon last week. Alon was a phenomenal show. We just started doing a series. We're going to do one a month where we talk more about specifically bringing your trading into more of a business format, bringing you into a business mindset, turning your trading into a business. And Alon did a phenomenal job of sharing how he uses statistics to get the best trade opportunities and to figure out what's going to work best for him. Unfortunately, 30 minutes was nowhere near enough. So I'm going to have you guys keep an eye out on the Forge Trader podcast. We will be doing a follow-up. I'm going to let this thing go as long as it goes within reason, I guess. And I'm going to let him go to town on exactly what he's done, how he's built it, and how you can do the same for your trading business as well. So keep an eye out at the Forged Trader podcast for that. If you are not following me, make sure to follow me at The Forged Trader across all the socials. On TikTok, you got to do a 3 instead of an E at the very end. So make sure to make that quick adjustment, but make sure to follow me online. I've got a lot of stuff that I have been doing. I took a little bit of a break for a project that I was working on. I'm back at it, and so I'm starting to ease back into schedule-wise, putting some good content out there. So make sure to follow that. I have a very, very exciting announcement, a personal record for me that I will be announcing today. Hopefully everything runs as smoothly as can be, but I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I have going on this afternoon. So make sure to check that out as well. We have a phenomenal, before I get to that, actually, I am super excited. To me, this is the best sale Apex has ever done. Apex Trader Funding, 80% off all evaluations, but the biggie is $40 lifetime activation fee, any size account. Make sure to use promo code Benzinga. That will always get you the best deal ever, but right now it will get you 80% off and $40 activations. This ends tonight, 11:59 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure to take full advantage of it. Remember, the account must be activated by tonight at 11:59 p.m., which means that you have to pass the evaluation by end of business today in order to take full advantage of the $40 activations. So don't get caught up in a misconception that buying the account today gives you unlimited time frame to get that done. Anyway, for those of you who are activating accounts, make sure to take full advantage of that. We will be giving away 3 evaluations today as well for live viewers of the show. So you will see the form in the chat. Make sure to fill that out. And we have last week's winners, Sung, Jin, and Cindy. Hopefully I pronounced all of those correctly. Thank you guys and congratulations. And we will be announcing next week's winners, or this week's winners rather, on next week's show. So hopefully that will be your name as long as you get that filled out before the end of the show. All of that said, without any further ado, we've got a fun and exciting show for you guys today. William is my guest. He's going to share with us what actually made him go from, as he put it, not being able to buy a winning trade to consistently profitable and getting payouts. So without any further ado, let's welcome William on today's episode of the Trader Bacon Show. Welcome to the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday traders that are getting funded, paid, and bringing home the bacon. Are you ready? Because the Trader Bacon Show starts right now. William, good morning, man.
How you doing?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing well, buddy. Glad to be here.
Thank you, man. Well, listen, did you just get to sit there and watch me staring quietly at the camera, trying to figure out if I was live?
I was wondering when the cue was coming.
Man, I'm sitting there and it didn't switch. I mean, it's usually pretty spot on, but I guess occasionally it doesn't do it.
You're live.
I know, right? It's good stuff. Anyway, well, thank you everybody for all your patience on that. Hopefully we didn't lose any audience members over that. William, man, so talk to me. You've been trading for about how long now? What is this? What has this been looking like for you?
Started trading in about 2019, probably a little bit before the pandemic hit and everybody really got into it. Started out probably like everybody started out with stocks on Robinhood and realized after a little while you can only make money in one direction and the leverage is terrible. Started kind of tinkering with options, learning the Greeks and everything, going through the basics, and then went through my zero DTE degenerate gambler mode for a little while. And then I realized like you can actually make a lot of money doing this. Let's buckle in and let's get something going here. And about that time, I kind of wandered over to futures. And where the leverage is bigger, you can use prop firms. I mean, there's just so many options available to you. And the great part is you're not burning your own money when you're learning, so that's kind of where I got into futures. And since then, I've been all about finding the correct strategies and applying those. And we all know that markets change, market structure changes. What works today might not work tomorrow. So it's always changing, adding confluence, taking things away, whatever you need to do to make it work in the environment you're currently in.
For sure. So you talked about having that moment where you decided to buckle in. I had that moment about a year ago, and I can't look back. I mean, it's been an amazing journey, and it's been a lot of fun, and it's been fairly fruitful. But I think every trader has to come to that moment where it's like, okay, it feels like shooting dice. It really does for a very long time for most of us. And we get frustrated and irritated when it doesn't produce the fruit that we expect that it should. We want the consistency of disciplined trading, but we want the excitement of shooting dice. What did that moment of, okay, I got to buckle in and do something look like for you? What did you do first?
So I kind of stopped going with this guru, that guru, this guru, that guru. I started doing actual research on the market itself, how things work. And then I found a gentleman named Vincent Desiano. Great guy, preaches the key levels and everything. And more importantly, he preaches discipline. Right. And that's when I really realized, like, you're not going to win every single trade. Being disciplined does not mean a 100% accuracy. You know what I mean? So it's more so about risk management and controlling your losses, making sure your wins are bigger, and sometimes just looking at the market and realizing this is not the time to be putting capital at risk. So it's just a moment where you decide to grow up a little bit and realize that there's a lot more to this than meets the eye. You can go in and just say up or down, red or black if you want to, but if you want to be consistent, you got to lock in and learn some things and be consistent about those things.
So what was it that resonated with you? And Desiano has come up a couple of times on the show, and this is not a promotion by any stretch of the imagination, but what was it about what he was sharing that really resonated with you? And before you answer that, I asked that question because I know for me, I went through a lot of strategy hopping, a lot of searching, the same thing every trader does. And then I found a set of concepts that just made sense to me, right? And so I pursued that very aggressively and actually sought out, a mentor along those lines. Right. But what was it about that he was teaching, that he was talking about, that he shared that had that resonance with you that made you say, okay, this is the guy, forget everything else, I'm going this direction?
It was the sense of calm and the plan that he had. And it's not just him, it's ADR. It's a lot of traders that you see when you find the right ones. They all have this sense of calm about them. They could be down. It could be going the wrong way. It could be, 3 ticks from their stop loss and they're just ho-hum, doesn't matter, on to the next one. You know what I mean? That's really what made me realize, like, it's not, the sky isn't falling every time you're red. It's all part of the plan. You're going to lose some, move on to the next. This could still turn around and hit TP. Don't mess with your stop loss.
So, I mean, that's such a stark contrast from content that tends to get a lot of attention. The screaming and yelling, yes, I'm up 10 grand. Yes, I'm up 10 grand, as people sit there and approach their take profits. And then you see them turn around and all of a sudden they go into this devastation mode. And the intention is to paint a picture of somebody who's a successful trader, but that didn't seem to be what resonated with you. Did you have an experience that said, I don't want that? Or was it just seeing this calm and going, oh, I do want that?
If I'm being completely honest, what made me realize that I wanted to pursue more the calm trader route was realizing that there's 2 types of streamers out there in this space. There's streamers who trade for content, and then there's traders who stream for the betterment of others.
That's so incredibly well put.
A lot of these guys that you see go, I made 10 grand in a minute. that was their one lucky shot.
Right.
That was their one lucky shot. They lost, I don't know how much in their fake paper accounts prior to that, but that moment they got the content that they needed. They put it out there on their social. They got their followers and they're pushing those courses. But when you're calm, cool, and collected, and you are a trader who streams, you might have $10,000 in it. You might get lucky, but usually it's going to be calm, steady gains. And they have an actual strategy that doesn't change every week. They don't change their time frames every other day. You can tell that they do this for a living.
We were talking about that on pre-show, and it is really interesting how many of these live streamers will show you 10 different strategies. And logically, like once you've gotten to a certain level of trading, you're like, this guy doesn't trade 10 different strategies. How is that even possible? Now, again, not discrediting anybody. I don't have any specifics. This is just my impression of, I can't fathom that that's real. It's content for the sake of content, for the sake of building an audience, not necessarily for the sake of, helping traders grow. So through all of this, you found a mentor who basically displayed the type of emotional stability that you were looking for. Did it rub off pretty quickly? I mean, were you able to sort of embody that?
Yeah, you'd be surprised how easy that does rub off on you when you go from being isolated. Isolating yourself as a trader is one of the worst things that you can do. You get in your own head and your voice is incredibly loud when you're in the middle of a trade. So just having that external source saying it's going against us, it's fine. If it gets to here, we're out. If it goes, it goes. Just having that external source of energy, keeping you calm, it does make a big difference. And it does rub off on you fairly quickly. I mean, you spend a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in the stream and then trade by yourself, and you're sitting there saying things that they would be saying, and it absolutely rubs off on you.
That's awesome. And I know, of course, everybody likes to dig into strategy, but that emotional resilience is such a key critical component to being successful, at least with any long-term effect. I got my trade dog over here. She's wreaking havoc. I'm hoping that she's good for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So that said, obviously you can't trade without a strategy. And we've talked a little bit about what it is that you do as a trader, but let's dig a little bit deeper into it. Let's go ahead and pull up the charts and let's talk about, because in the promo, you specifically mentioned, look, I couldn't buy a trade, couldn't buy a win rather. And now I'm being consistent. So what does consistent trading look like for you from a strategic standpoint?
So what I love about this is everybody's probably heard of this at this point, and I just kind of stumbled across it. It's a 15-minute orb. It's incredibly simple. You can use it a dozen different ways. What I love about this is we'll just use last night, for example, Sunday. By the way, I do trade mostly in the evenings. I'm in Central Time, so from the time that the market opens at 5 p.m., that's really when I'm marking up my charts and getting ready. So last night, 5 o'clock hits, 1, 2, 3, throw a box around those 15 minutes worth of opening candles. And from there, you're looking for a break and retest. We can see we got the break, we got the retest, and that 7 o'clock candle where we get some extra volume pushed upwards, but it never broke this peak. And then we got a pretty nice breakdown.
Sure.
That's the basic, straightforward. You can use it like that if you want strategy, but I personally like to add a little bit of confluence. So I'll come over and add some things like, for example, the daily simple moving averages. And now when we add that in, we can see that this breakdown didn't just stop right there for no reason. It smacked its head on that 20 DSMA and kind of wanted to push back up. And then when it broke back down, where did it stop? It pushed up again into that 20 DSMA. Let me put a box around that real quick.
And on that note, John makes the comment that he's quoting me that I said so many times, most traders have more monitors than they have friends they can talk to about trading. That community, of course, is incredibly, incredibly important.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that quote, John.
That is 100% true. So once in this situation, I might not even do just the 15-minute opening range. Since we have this right here, I might even just stretch that range box to just include the 20 DSMA. You know what I mean? Or if we were going the other way, I've seen 40-80 both act as big support and a point of rejection several times. So we might even just stretch this up to include that key level. you don't want to go willy-nilly and, add this whole thing,
Sure.
but, you want to have a little bit of breathing room in case it dumps down and gets pushed right back up in.
Right.
So that was just last night's, Sunday night's example, but you can see 15 minutes, breaks down, pushes back up, and you get your break.
Right.
And it's just consistent over and over and over. And this is gold. I trade mostly gold and NQ. NQ has not been behaving lately, so I've been mostly on gold. This is a good example of it going the other way, not holding the retest and failing through. So
Right.
we got our opening range. We pushed up strong. And these are honestly the ones that you got to watch out the most for, because when they push up strong like that, when it comes back down for that retest, it can just cut right.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what happened here. So I was kind of looking for a long right here because we have all this open space above us. Could have been a great move, but we saw it come down and push, got trapped under that 9 EMA. And the 9 EMA is something that I do use a lot. It holds my hand quite often. Got trapped below the 9 EMA and then got trapped inside the box. And I mean, we just cut straight on through. Right. So now at this point, I'm looking for a retest short. And when I remember this trade, when we came up, we smacked our head on 4080. I already mentioned 4080. Entered on this candle here. Didn't get a big move at first. Came back up for another retest, but then we got the real thing.
Sure.
So
now for you, what is a target? Are you looking for a certain number of points? Are you looking for that level like we can see right there? What is that ultimately?
So
how do you structure that?
It depends on where I'm at in my payout cycle. I am targeting anywhere between $300 to $800 per day. I like to maintain like a $500 a day average. Right now, my average in these accounts is about $513. So I'm not trying to knock it out of the park. You know what I mean? You don't need home runs. You don't need to slam it every single time. You just get singles and doubles, and you have 7, 8, 9, 10 accounts, 20 accounts Apex lets you have. I mean, that $300 day with 10 accounts is now $3,000. You can't shake a stick at that. Why risk everything and, try to go big every trade just to, potentially lose? And we all know with Apex, we have that trailing threshold. So if you have a massive $2,000 trade, you look away, you sneeze for a second, and it erases 1,000 of it. That's $1,000 winning trade, but you also lost $1,000 in buffer. So did you really win? You know what I mean?
Exactly. And all of these things are factors. And of course, once you're past payout threshold, that's not as much of a factor. But
it's all things you consider. It just depends on where you're at in your process, how mature your accounts are, how much buffer you have. Trading is all about context, and the more of it you have, the better decisions you can make. Exactly. So what brought you to this particular strategy above really anything else? And did you start off trading Asia session, or did that sort of evolve over time? No, I started trading during the day. And what kind of brought me to this was organically, I was a lost soul. I was a desperate man. It was a rough summer, beginning of the summer. And I just wandered to the rewind on TradingView and I was like, show me something. Yeah. Show me something that I can do that works. Good grief. Because this is a rough summer. I've had a great winter, went out and, got a new truck, traded in my old car and was doing well, had some plans for new business and things. And then just summertime hits and I can't buy a winning trade. My strategy won't work. And I'm like, what is happening? Clearly there's been a market shift. Let me get in here and see what is working now, what is not working. Is it me? What's happening? Right. And from there, I started thinking like you need to zero in on time zones. You don't want to be trading obviously from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. You don't want to trade the tail end of the day, but you don't want to trade the right off the bat where it's all crazy. So I tried to zero in on what times of the day would suit me best. And I found that, the very beginning of each session was good, but 8:30 in the morning when everybody's slamming buttons, even up until about 9 a.m., it's a little sketchy out there. Sure. So
especially on NQ.
I naturally gravitated towards the evenings where you still get a fair amount of movement. You can make $1,000 a night plus, you know what I mean? It's slowed down. and I can handle that. You get a more time to read it. You get a better gauge of where it wants to go, what levels it might be magneting towards,
Sure.
and just more reaction time in general.
Well, that really is one of the beautiful things about trading, because no, you're not going to get a 300-point swing in Asia session in most cases, right? Or heaven forbid, 1,300 points. But you can size accordingly because you're still looking for the same risk to reward ratio. So whereas you may have had a 30-point stop on morning session, you might have a 6-point, 8-point stop during, Asia session, which means that you can size up and still get that same level of profitability. And I think that's one of those things that people forget. They're like, I need to trade New York session. Well, a lot of us love New York session for a variety of reasons, but no, you don't need to trade New York session to make money. You just need to trade the session the way that session should be traded. There we go. I know my words are in there somewhere. And I love that you've made a great example of this in a way that I hope is, that resonates with traders that are like, I work 9 to 5. How can I get this done?
That's a big reason why I did the evening trading, is because, a lot of people aren't able to trade during the day. And I was thinking, if I ever did go the route of being, a trade leader, or whatever you want to call them, a guru, then I could.
We all see guru status.
Yeah, right. And I could focus more so in the evening time when normal people are able to trade.
Right.
So I enjoy it, and when you look at it, a lot of big moves happen overnight. I mean, this move right here, this is overnight.
Yeah.
The evening session, that's a massive, massive move. If you caught that with 5 micros, which is typically the size that I trade, you're laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, and 5 micros risk wouldn't have been a couple $100 probably.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. You risk a few hundred to make 800 or more, and you're good. You peel off 3 micros, leave 2 to run, peel 1 more off after some more points. There's a million ways to do it, and that's the thing about trading, is there are hundreds of working strategies that will put money in your pocket. I'm not saying that this is the one and only way. If you want to make money, you have to do it my way. There are hundreds of ways to do this. You have to find the way that works for you, that clicks in your head, that allows your psychology to kind of gel with the strategy. So you are the biggest factor. You're the biggest problem in trading.
Right. Oh, for sure. And that really is one of the biggest premises of the show. We don't display everybody's strategy week after week after week to get traders to bounce from one to another. And I've said this many times on the show. The idea is to show it doesn't matter what your strategy is, as long as you learn it, manage it, and it has some foundation of logic behind it, obviously, then it can be profitable. But for each trader, we talked about this earlier in this show, is you have to find that one strategy that just resonates with you. I know John's a big fan of the orb as well. He does it in New York session. John Zeke there in the chat, because when we talked about it on the show a few months ago, it just hit. It just resonated with him, and it made sense. And John, I hope you're having great success with it. I know we'll get a chance to chat more about that. But this is the beauty of trading. What works for you isn't going to work for me, and vice versa. Right. We have to find our own path. And this is why I come back week after week after week and say, hey, here's another possibility, not to jump around, but to say, whatever it is that you find, stick with it. Work with it, develop it, tweak it if needed.
Exactly. And not just that, but I mean, when you hear dozens of strategies on your show, you can not change your strategy or jump ship to another strategy. You might just be like, hey, those daily simple moving averages, I see that reacts to that a lot. Maybe I'll add that. Or the 200 EMA, I see it reacts to that a lot. Maybe I'll add that. You don't have to completely uproot your strategy. If you want to just add a little bit of confluence that you saw somebody else uses and you like it, use it.
And that's exactly what I've done. I focus a lot of my time every day to learning more about the markets. What that ultimately brings is snapshots of information. And when I look at that information, my first question is, how do I apply this to the strategy that I have? Which I actually went over on the show also a few months ago when we had a guest snafu, right? But that is always my mindset. How can this apply to what I already know and what I already do? Sometimes the answer is it doesn't, and that's fine, right? Move on, and somebody else is having success with it. It's not for me. But a lot of times it just that creative way of looking at it can really help me clean things up and do things better. And that's ultimately the goal.
For sure.
Now, obviously trading is not an easy thing to become successful at. And yes, we always have that mindset of, oh, I watch this guy, I watch this video, it makes sense. I can do this. I can repeat this in 6 months. I'm going to be cranking, right? And that's very, very rarely what happens.
Very rarely.
When you look at the time that you've put into trading and how long it took you to get here, where what do you think about that time where you struggled? I mean, do you look back on that time frequently?
Yeah, often. It's hard to forget, and that's probably a good thing, honestly. You spend money and you try to get better and you learn from this person and that person, and then you go out and you're like, still losing.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. And you think about quitting. You think about quitting a lot. You're like, this is downright irresponsible at this point. I'm not investing. I'm not winning. I don't even think that this is trading at this point.
Right.
I'm just
I have a gambling problem.
A bonfire. I have a gambling problem. Oh my
Right.
God. How did I get here? And then something clicks inside of you. Nothing on the market changed. The market stays the same. You changed, something clicked, and now all of a sudden you're seeing the charts and things just go your way. And what's so important, and I've done this several times, gone on streaks where I'm doing so well, and I'm like, nothing can stop me now.
Yeah.
Well, next week, right back to it. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, what was I doing last week? It's like, why didn't you write it down?
Right.
Folks, if you are right now in a hot streak, you are doing well, for Pete's sake, just take 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Go write it down. Yeah. Take note in your phone. What am I doing right now that is working well? Take every note. Don't leave anything out. It might be the thing that's important, because like you said, like we've said, this is mostly mental. This is mostly your own head working against you in trading. You set a stop loss while you're clear-headed and thinking straight, and then you're in a trade and it's right there next to the stop loss and you want to just bail and go. And sometimes you do, and then it dumps straight to your take profit and you're kicking yourself the whole time. Or worse, you enter where the TP was thinking, oh, well, it's just going to keep on going, and it runs right back up. And now you've lost twice instead of just winning once.
Yeah. Set
your stops. Believe that you are more clear-headed prior to the trade than you are right now, and just trust them.
We should have had that conversation before I jumped into the charts today, as we talked about before. But yeah, I mean, it happens to all of us, and it's part of the process.
It is.
We have to not just be so robotic that we understand some days are winners and some days are losers. We also have to understand that some days I'm going to screw things up.
Yeah.
And I can't let my own mistakes affect my decision-making and my emotions in the moment. And I think that's what really gets me. When I look at the days where I have terrible, terrible mistakes, it's usually because I made a mistake, and now it's not just making up for a loss, but it's making up for a mistake.
Right.
And that gets me a lot.
It'll tag you.
And Brian's got definitely some good insights in the chat there. Yes, whatever you think your time frame is at about 18 months, LOL, I'm saying 36. But not to be discouraging by any stretch of the imagination, but it takes time. Yeah. And you know what? Most traders aren't basically going to go in and start trading every single day when they first start doing this. I mean, we're going to go through, I'm going to do 2 or 3 months really hardcore, and then I'm going to take a break, or I might trade 2 days a week, or whatever the case may be. All of these things are factors that come into play. Why so many people are starting to see a level of success, in my opinion, right now, is because a lot of people had a lot of free time during COVID, and they just dove into stuff like they never have before.
There's an amount of education out there that's unprecedented at this point. It's free.
Just so much of it is free. You gotta learn how to filter it, but so much of it is free, for sure. So at this point, all the time, the energy, effort, the expense, the ups and downs that you've put into it, what's the biggest positive outcome for you at this point in your life as a result of trading?
Just being able to go to bed at night knowing my bills are paid, that I have a functioning new vehicle in the driveway, that I can take care of my family if an emergency were to happen tomorrow, and throw money at it and make it go away. Just being able to be a man and provide for my family. That's my main thing. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to run my own businesses and do things, and I do currently, but trading is a high ceiling. It's a high upside. And if you can just get it, it's a game changer. It's an absolute game changer. So you're not going to find very many things where you can sit on your couch, put up $200 a risk, and make $1,000 in half an hour.
Right. And it's not even $200 a risk nowadays with Apex Trader Funding, couple bucks. You know, you've got evaluations for next to nothing. And for the next few hours, $40 lifetime activations for $40. So
that's hard.
Yeah, you can't beat the risk to reward ratio when you start taking that into consideration. When you start thinking about what it costs to the cost of entry is, the barriers are so low now that anybody can do this if they're willing to put in the time. Now, you also have to self-regulate. If you've never traded before, don't go buy 20 evaluations and YOLO into them and try to win them in one trade and then take that into your PA. Don't do that.
Paper account. Just start with a paper account. I use a paper account to this day. I take at least 5 trades a day in my paper account, just measuring shots so that I can take the real thing. You know what I mean? If I like it in the practice, let it kind of pull back a little bit more or whatever I got to do, make the adjustments. But I take the shots in the practice first, line it up, and then go for it in the real thing. Keep your paper account always and start with your paper account. Once you feel like you've strung together some wins, get an eval. It's cheap.
Yeah, never stop learning, never stop growing, but don't put real dollars at risk in the education process.
Right.
Use those for the confirmation process. So, all right, folks. Yeah, hit that like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys. So much fun to be able to do this. Again, 30 minutes is never enough, but I'm going to take back that minute that I lapsed in front of the camera on the other side. Yes, we've got about 13 more hours left on the 80% off $40 lifetime activation. Use promo code Benzinga. That will always get you the best price ever at any point with Apex Trader Funding. William, man, what a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you for sharing your story, sharing your insights, sharing your strategy. We definitely need to keep in touch because I think we've got a lot of similar insights, and I'm always trying to build that trader community, as we were talking about in the chat a little bit there. More monitors than trader buddies. That's just not acceptable.
Accurate.
So thank you, William. I really, really, truly appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing with us today.
Thank you for having me. It was absolutely a pleasure. To everybody watching and listening, thank you all so much, and keep going.
Always a pleasure, man. And also go check me out on social. I've got a big, cool announcement this afternoon, so go check it out. It should be fun. I don't think I'll do it live just for the sake of your time. I'll be able to speed it up, but nonetheless, it should be a lot of fun.
All right.
At the Forge Trader, of course. Also, make sure to follow Apex Trader Funding at Apex Trade Fund. Make sure to check that out at the very top of the screen there. And I will see you all next week in December on the next episode of the Trader Bacon Show. Thanks for joining the Trader Bacon Show, where we showcase everyday traders that are getting funded, paid, and bringing home the bacon. Make sure to join us next time, Mondays at 11 a.m. Eastern.